Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. How you doing tonight?
Another day in paradise and another week done.
Aren't they always another day in paradise?
Oh, they are what you make them, I guess. Yeah. They need to be done a whole lot sooner. I need to go to part time, I swear.
I can actually kind of relate to that.
However, this is not the time to do that because calls are endless right now. That's all right.
That's the perfect time to do that.
Well, no, because when one person's gone, my goodness, we know it. We know it.
Okay, I'm still working on sharing this thing out. Well,
I And Nick hopefully will be on soon with his muted little ass.
he won't be muted as soon as he comes on. So that
Unless he's, well, yeah, that's true. He's only muted because we do it.
yeah, we do that so that any sounds that we make behind the scenes isn't heard while the intro video is playing.
That's probably a good thing. Nobody needs to hear me beating Zach.
How is Zach anyway?
He's doing much better. He's cooking dinner. He's, just that one night in the ER really was it. He slept off and on the next day, but he really did a good job. Um, Today is actually the 11th anniversary of his motorcycle accident, so he's doing a lot better than I thought he would do today.
Wow. Okay.
And we actually had a ride scheduled for next weekend. His cousin was going to give him the extra motorcycle, and we were going to go poker run.
Really?
But, of course, I said I'd go, but I was worried about it because he hasn't been on a bike in 11 years, 10 years.
Since then?
Well, no, he has been since then. But, not being on a bike in 10 years and then having somebody on the back of the bike that does not know how to lean with and, kind of help instead of hindering, um, I was worried about all that. But if I was still 110 pounds, I wouldn't be worried about it because who cares? I'm not. So, I could actually lay the bike down if I don't do what I'm supposed to.
I don't know. Being that light could throw you a great distance.
Well, that's okay though, but at least I wouldn't be helping him
Hi,
lay
Chris.
it down. Yeah. But he woke up this morning about 3 o'clock and said, when I came down, I'm like, why are you up? He said, my brain just wouldn't stop. I'm like, what? It didn't dawn on me. And he said, we're not going to do the ride. Why? He said, because I don't have time to practice on a bike and I need time to practice to get back into it because there's a bunch of newbies. And if one does something they're not supposed to, lays it down, there's a 12 bike pile up. And he said, I'm not ready for that. I said, thank God.
Better safe than sorry.
I was not about to, I wasn't going on that bike without a helmet. I'm not doing it. It is not a law here in Colorado, but I'm not doing it.
Really?
No. No. In most states, you can go without a helmet as long as you have life insurance on you, a certain amount, because you're about to make somebody a widow or, something. Hey, Chris. Hey, Mimi.
Yeah. I mean,
So, you know, here, it doesn't matter. If you want to crack your skull open like a damn egg, you go right ahead.
I know.
Yes, Chris, absolutely. I've been seeing that, and that pisses me off. They made a new law.
Crotch
They,
rockets.
yeah, those little zingers, not Harleys or Hondas or anything like that. They're those little like moped looking things and dirt bikes and race bikes and things like that.
Oh, I know exactly. We got some dumbass kid here in this neighborhood that has one.
Yep.
He
And
screams by you at 40 mile an hour minimum.
imagine what he does in traffic. And that's the problem we're having here is they're going in and out of traffic like this.
Yeah.
And they're doing that on interstates at 110. They're doing it. They passed a new law that allows motorcycles to go between cars at a stoplight. At a stoplight when everybody's stopped, not while you're going. People are either misunderstanding or just doing whatever the fuck they want and doing it between cars now. And the cars almost have an accident trying to avoid them because we're trying to make sure they don't die and they're not giving two shits. Or we have them running on their back wheels going between cars, doing a wheelie. No. And I tell you, Zach has a damn panic attack and then pissed off as hell when he sees that because, well, he had the accident.
What
So,
happened to him? Who can blame him?
yeah, I mean, he's just like, you stupid motherfucker. And come to find out, because he's been out of the game for 11 years, a lot of people are backing out of the game because there's not a lot of rides anymore. There's not a lot of get togethers. There's not a lot of benefit rides, even because there's so many accidents. There's so many accidents because people are so pissed off at these crotch rockets that do this and have no respect. Used to, bikers would get hit because people weren't paying attention. People are now paying attention. And these crotch rockets are just, there's no respect. Cars are pissed off at this point and just want to run them over.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it.
It just happened a couple of days ago. I think it was Monday. I was at Dad's house, supper time, and I'm getting ready to come home. I'm standing by the door, and all of a sudden I see the go right by, and so I open up the door to look out, and this kid is already a block up, going around the big curve. I'm thinking, holy cow! And I had seen this same kid, uh, I think maybe 2 weeks before, doing
Yep.
that. And
Yep.
our speed limit here is 25. When I'm driving through here, I try to do 20 because we got a lot of kids here.
Right. Right.
Then there's that jackass going through it at least 40,
Well, the thing is,
and it's loud too.
oh yeah, those things. Some Harleys are too. They hollow them out and do whatever. But and like Chris said, Harley riders are much more respectful because if you own a Harley, for the most part, this is stereotyping. Yes, it is. For the most part, you're paying a lot of damn money for that bike, and you're going to have some experience before you're going to buy that bike. You're going to have experience on some junk.
And there would be some sort of a, oh, what do they call it? Like a society status thing. Like when
Oh,
people get
a
like
standard.
Mercedes or
Oh,
Jaguar or something like that.
yeah, and there's going to be a standard along with that. Unfortunately, with Harleys, the standard it can go either way. They have, I won't name groups, but they have ones that are like one percenters and worse, and then they have ones that are not. But if you have a Harley, most of the time you're going to be respectful because you've earned that. You know how to act and how not to act.
Right.
Unfortunately, bike riders that are doing it for benefits, for whatever, most of them are benefits, poker runs, things like that, are benefits for either children, cancer, something. It's slowing down, and a lot of the bars that they used to stop at to get cards and whatever aren't doing it anymore. And it's sad because if I get a biker in front of me, I don't care what kind of bike it is. If I get one in front of me and they're not racing to get somewhere, I make sure there's enough distance between me and that biker that if he were to stop, I mean, slam on those brakes, I'm going to stop before I hit him. I give him that cushion. And a lot of them will ride in that cushion.
That's
Hey, beautiful.
that's how I am when I'm driving. It doesn't matter who's in front of me. I do not like being close to
Oh,
any whoever's in front of me. That's why
right.
it really busts my ass when somebody is behind me and I can't even see the headlights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I I have learned not to worry about what's behind me. If it hits me, that's their problem. I've learned to worry about what's in front of me. But a biker, I'm going to stay far enough back that if they were to lay it down, I'm not going to hit them. Or if they were to just come to a complete stop, I'm not going to hit them. I give them that cushion. A lot of bikers are comfortable in that cushion. They know you're protecting them. They're not dumb. But this new law and these crotch rockets are just, they belong out on the racetrack. There is a place for them. Absolutely. Let's go race. Jan will tell you, she used to race them.
Not neighborhoods.
But you're right, a neighborhood is not one of those places, and the freeway is certainly not one of those places. I've seen
I'd rather they be
skids.
on the freeways than in the neighborhood.
um,
At least they're away from our kids because
my goodness, sweetheart, you got a strap on I don't know about? We need to talk.
because like just three houses down from us, we got a bunch of kids that like to play in the street. They play ball and things like that.
Sure.
They always get out of the way when somebody's coming up. But if they're
Right.
there and this kid is driving up on one of those things, they probably won't even see him until it's too late.
Right. And that's the problem. The thing is, there needs to be respect both ways, but anymore it's become a stereotype of these crotch rockets are behind you on one wheel. Shut up.
Mm.
Yeah, we're not. No, we're not going there.
I almost wish that the city would put a speed bump in here. Um,
You know, I, that might actually slow down someone.
if this kid hits the kind of speed bumps that we have, these are the sharp ones, not the ones that you can go over. Hey, Michael, not the ones that you can go over at 30-35 mile an hour and just barely feel it. These are almost squared,
Right.
where you have to be under 5 mile an hour to get over, and you still feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're getting those here too, which
Yeah, this
I
kid
don't
hits
mind.
one of those, he's going flying.
Yeah. I don't mind those. I really don't. But I'm very thankful. Jen, you didn't get to hear, so I'm gonna say this. Zach's 11-year anniversary of his accident is today. Um, he we were supposed to go on a poker run next weekend. He woke up this morning at 3 a.m. and decided we're not doing it.
Yeah,
I
come
don't
on, guys, to
know.
join us.
Oh, really? Hmm.
Yeah,
How are we doing there, Nick?
and guess what?
I thought so. Hmm.
What's going on, guys?
We'll let you know when you decide to join us and join in the conversation.
Sorry, I was like, I had to finish up a chore at the house, so it's for a special party I'm having tomorrow.
So anyway, let me
And
finish this real
you
quick.
already started with the Illinois.
Dude.
Yeah.
Watch it, Chris.
So
Yes, Chris, he is on Nick Standard Time.
yes. So we were supposed to go on a poker run or a ride next weekend, and he woke up at 3 this morning and decided we're not doing it. I am very thankful because I was scared to death. But I would have done it, just not without a helmet. Um, I guess he doesn't believe in this stuff, but I'm going to say he had a dream about something that happened because he was gung ho yesterday. Um, I'm going to say that he had an epiphany of what would happen, which I had the same feeling. There's a lot of newbies. If one of them laid it down, at least 10 behind him are going to do the same thing. I didn't want to be one of those, and apparently he don't either. Thank goodness. So we will wait for another year. I got dogs to take care of tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, at the
At the shelter,
yeah.
I'm now not only doing dog walking. We can't do them in the afternoon anymore, so I go really early. I'm doing dog walking because it's so hot. Those dogs cannot be out there. It is hot.
How
Um,
is it over there now?
99 to about 102
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
in the afternoon.
we haven't. We've come close to that, but we haven't hit 100 yet.
Yeah,
Not
see,
yet.
Chris says 106 here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's see that's the few times that
we haven't
that
gotten
it's
that
happened
far.
over here. The few times that it's happened over here where it's gotten close to being 100 degrees. Yeah, there's me, Robert. There's me, Robert.
Yeah, see, right now it's 86 here, but it's that afternoon. So
Well,
I'll
then
walk
I
them in the morning. Then
And
I do cat cuddling, which what cat cuddling means is you're taming the kittens that were born 2 months ago with this crazy, it's cat season. And they bring in strays. So we're trying to acclimate them so they can actually go to a home. Then I'm doing administrative work and making all the and what I did not know till I started helping with the pound was they make enrichment toys for the dogs, the cats, the small animals, everything. Um, they make enrichment toys so they don't go crazy in their little pens. They give them Kongs, they give them like scent toys, all kinds of different things. So I make those. I also do pictures so that we can put them on the website for adoption, things like that. I have gotten so damn involved that I need to back up a little bit because it's become a second job in one day.
wow.
But
jeez.
I love it. And also, I'm also in for fostering. So I can only foster little bitty animals like rats,
Don't you
snakes.
don't you have enough?
No, rats, snakes, birds, little dogs that belong in cages, ones that I can bottle feed, cats that I can bottle feed, things like that. Because I have one little bitch that I don't know where she went, but she will not allow me to have another pet. Period. End of story. Nobody else gets in my bed. Nobody else. Nope. Mm-mm. So,
Is that baby girl or Rosie?
Rose.
Okay.
Baby girl lays down and goes, okay. She gets on the foot of the bed at the twin. Now, mind you, we have a California king, and we have to have a twin bed at the end of the bed for a dog to get down there because there's not enough room in the bed for all these dogs. Just
That's
not.
not enough
Yes,
room in the room for that.
I know. I know. And I'm wanting a Chihuahua that will sit in the office with me
Oh
and
man.
stay with me because Rose does not stay with me. She stays in the other room sunbathing until she hears me hit those steps. And then she goes outside with me. Yeah, you heard your name. What are you doing? No, I don't want you.
Chris, to answer your question, he just asked me, could I foster? You know, I probably would, but as long as I'm living in my parents' house, I
No,
don't think my parents want any more pets.
no, he's asking if Adrian can foster you.
No. Oh, I misread it. Okay,
I
foster.
fostered I fostered all of them a while back.
I thought he meant, can you foster Nick?
Nope.
Not foster me, but can I foster for him?
No, he's asking if she can foster. See, he just confirmed it. If she can foster,
We would we would have to acclimate him to animals,
no,
not humans.
he's got his own animals.
Oh, no, not like these guys.
True.
We would have to acclimate him to animals. Um, yeah, but so my bird is loose in the office all the time, so I can't have a big dog that would eat the bird. I didn't ask for you. Go away.
You wouldn't
Uh,
want a cat in there either.
so yeah, I mean, I'll do foster babies that need that need like bottle feeding, or ones in a cage like rats, ferrets, whatever. But yeah, I can't have one little sleep in my bed with me because Rose will bite the shit out of them.
Oh, so
It's too expensive to
now you
foster.
got two dogs that like to bite.
Well, Ghost has gotten to where he really likes to bite the other dogs and correct them these days,
Oh, really?
and he's gotten to where he tries to jump up between me and Zach. If I when I get ready to go to work in the mornings, I'll give him a kiss and go to leave, and he gets between us. So he has been getting his little ass kicked. Come here.
Wow.
He's been getting his little ass kicked with this mouth of his. Yeah.
Because
He's
I know that baby girl likes to nip at us.
Yeah, and since the girls were here about a year ago, she hasn't nipped anybody because we haven't had company. Go lay down.
Well,
Okay.
I'll be there in about 6 months.
Yeah, she. I don't know. They're damn spoiled, is what they are.
Yeah.
Cool Whip. What?
Oh no, she's referred to it as because it's from Family Guy. Coof Whip. It's supposed to be Coof Whip. Has
Okay.
ever seen that? Ever seen that episode?
I don't get the reference.
Oh, so it's supposed to be a part where in Family Guy where Brian is like, well, he's supposed to be eating like a piece of pie that was given to Meg, but it has hair in it. Which different long story for that. But then Stewie comes up. He's like, "Hey, you got some pie there, right?" He's like, "Can I have some?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, well, "Let me have some of that Coof Whip." He's like, "Wait, what? You can't have a pie without Coof Whip? Coof Whip?" and they're like, and like he's like, "Say whip, whip." Okay, now say Coof Whip. He's like, "Coof." I mean, there's like, no, say Cool Whip. Coof Whip. He's like, "You're saying weird. Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H?" they go through this. They go through this like art, like this battle of Cool Whip, Coof Whip, and
No.
ever since I've gotten that joke, obviously, as you guys know, working at a grocery store, sometimes I had to handle Cool Whip,
You
putting on the stocking on the shelves, and that every time I've had to deal with customers who ask me about Cool Whip, I'm not gonna lie, there have been some close calls where I almost called it Coof Whip.
That's okay. I got a redneck on the phone today, and he said, "Where are you from? I love your accent." I don't know where you
Somebody,
from. He says, "Well, I think he was from like Washington, somewhere up there." And I said, "I have an accent." He goes, "Yep, you do." I said, "Huh."
oh
I
yeah,
said, "What kind of accent?" He said, "I don't know, Southern." I said, "Pick one. Kentucky, Oklahoma, Colorado,
Name it, you've been there.
Mexico. Pick one." He's like, "Ah, okay." And then I tried. I kid you not. I told him forward slash. I was telling him a website. I said forward slash. He says, "I'm old, and I'm really redneck. What's forward slash? You're gonna have to talk to me like I'm a baby. And you're wanting to take your ass to college? Are you fucking kidding me right now?" I said, "That little line that points to the right, that's forward slash."
jeez.
I I am done with people this week. I'm done. My patience is fucking gone. I'm done. Done.
Somebody somebody said to me while I was at work today, because some guy came up to me, a customer, asking about some type of item of whatnot. It was like some type of salad item. I wasn't sure what. I don't remember what it was, and I was trying to look for it for him. And then after I came back to tell him that we didn't have it, he's like, "Oh no, it's a big deal." And then he says, "Digging the accent though." I'm like, I didn't even think about. I honestly didn't even think that he could hear an accent from me. So maybe this
What
is something.
accent? What
I
did
guess
he have one?
I don't really recall. I don't really recall him having an accent at all. I mean, I guess. I mean, yeah, we do have somewhat of a Chicago accent, but that's not very distinct, as
Oh
I
yeah,
would say.
every region in America has their own.
You have a lack of accent. Now, I'm going to tell you what.
That's right.
When
There
I
we
came
go.
down bitching, because I was bitching about this guy that I was talking to that had an accent. It was so thick I couldn't understand him hardly. He was foreign. I don't know from where, but anyway,
Those-
I and his entitlement. He actually said the words, "I'm entitled to, motherfucker. You ain't entitled to shit. You have to do what you're supposed to do to get what it is you think you're entitled to." So this is a give and take. First, let's get that straight. Second of all, his
I'll tell you what.
I was pissed off to begin with. I was pissed off. And when he started in with that bullshit, after I ended that call, which I did end it nicely, I was never mean, but I started bitching to Zach, this motherfucker, and his fucking accent. And he said, I said, I just want to understand what he's saying so I can give him the answer. He said, what kind of accent? And I said, I don't know. And he said, it wasn't a New York accent, was it? And I said, yeah, New York. And I said, no, no. He says, that's the one that triggers me, New York accent. I can understand that because a lot of times New York comes across mean. And they really don't mean to me. That's our culture. I get it, but holy shit. What? No. What?
I don't know where that came from.
I don't either, but I don't fucking think so. Get yourself a cute boyfriend like me. Come down here and
He doesn't swing that way.
I'm laughing at what Chris said. Kind of something
diaper.
similar.
I don't blame you.
Okay,
I wear a diaper. I'm shorter than you.
If I could also just say one more thing before we move forward with everything, because
Can't promise
talk
cute.
about like different accents or whatever. I mean, like what you said, Jeremy. Like every region here in the U.S. always seems to have like their own type of accent. I mean, that's distinct here throughout the state of Illinois because it's like,
in dialect.
yeah. I mean, it's like you. Yeah, there are times we sometimes say words a little differently, but we don't have a full like on accent. But then, of course, you go down to the southern part of the state, and they have a Southern Illinois accent of their own. So it's, and I've heard the accent myself. I know when somebody's from the southern part of the state.
Like me?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and also like for example, we had a guy that went to a Paracon, went to SilCon with us 2 years ago. He was from all the way from Carbondale. So,
What
and I even
state?
that was in Illinois. It was in the southern part. That's where Carbondale is located.
I
That's
can call
where
you grandma, baby.
yeah, and that's also well, that's also where Southern Illinois University is located as
Okay,
well.
okay.
But I thought to myself when I saw him, because like I've told you guys before, unfortunately, there's been kind of a bitter rivalry between people of Southern and Northern Illinois. So when I found out that he was from Carbondale, and when he was asking us about where we were from, I think to myself, "Oh my God, he's gonna hate us because once we tell him we're from Chicago, he's gonna walk away." Thankfully, that didn't happen. We were the lucky ones.
Well, I'm one of those, you piss me off, you get one or two accents and maybe both together, depending on how pissed off you
Yeah.
got. You get Southern, the bless your heart bullshit,
Yeah.
or you get the Bulgarian in with the Southern.
You definitely don't want that.
No, you don't.
Huh? What, Jeremy? What'd you say?
I said you definitely don't want that.
No, no, no. And just like Jenny said on her post the other day, she's, I certain people doing certain things, and I said, I am at the age where I don't give a fuck. My fucks have all left, and I'm liable to call them out because my fucks have all left. And she's like, well, you're not that old. Oh, honey, you have no idea. Yeah, I can do the Mexican shit. Yep.
Mm-mm.
Speaking of
So,
countries,
so
Nope.
let's discuss the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, so earlier today I saw a post, um, the Ten Commandments of Paranormal Investigating.
I saw that earlier. That was I thought I was pretty impressed by that.
Well,
Yeah,
let's see them.
it's it's curious. So I would definitely like to explore this a little bit.
I'm gonna share
Let's,
the picture.
let's see here.
Honestly, when I saw that,
You're more than welcome to take me out. There we go. You can take me completely out and let's discuss it.
yeah. Oh, you got it already. Great, thanks, Jeremy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh yeah, I was gonna have this shit prepared, Nick.
6, 7, 8.
So,
Okay.
so there are 10. I have no idea who made this up. I actually kind of like this, so but I would like for us to discuss this
Sure.
because I know that,
Absolutely.
yeah, because I know that everybody has their own little ideas. Um, I'm no different. Um, so let's kind of go through these real quick, and then we'll discuss them one at a time.
All
So,
right.
and I like the wording of this. I like the wording. What? Huh?
I just spotlighted it just to get a better image.
You didn't need to do that because you,
Oh, okay. All right, fine. I'll go back. Sorry.
so
Nick, take your fingers off.
They're already off.
Thank you.
that's commandment number one. We're going to change this already. Commandment number one: Nick shall not mess with mouse. Okay, so you have thou shalt be informed, thou shalt be prepared, shall not trespass, shall be respectful, shall not venture off on thy own. I love the wording.
That is actually pretty well done.
Yeah. Shall not fake evidence, shall be skeptical, shall look for the normal before thou proclaim it paranormal.
I love it.
Sounds like it's coming straight from the 1500s, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Shall know thy limits and shall be professional at all times. And we
I
are
think
not.
I could create one that's a little more inclusive because a lot of these are the same damn thing.
Well, you
Well,
know,
are they really though?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go over it. I'll tell you why.
Let's go over it. So commandment number one: Thou shalt be informed.
Mhm.
So
Okay, so informed. Let's talk about informed.
this
Are
one
we
needs to
talking
be a bit vague.
right? Are we informed regarding the location? Are we informed?
I love that what Jan just said.
Yeah, let's get together and make one of these, eh?
And what
Um,
Kate said too,
I like
thou
that one.
shalt Kate's like, thou shalt eat butter on Pop Tarts.
No, we are not adding that one.
so
Now that can be part of Nick's Ten Commandment, but his first commandment would be, "Thou shalt be forever on NST, Nick Standard Time."
yeah, how about not?
Okay, so thou shalt be informed. Um, I can see both ways of this because there are some people that would prefer not to know information on an investigation, and I
Yeah,
can definitely see the advantage from their perspective. But I personally would like to know about the information of the locations.
right. So that's the difference between the people that go in and try to gather information from spirits and the people that are historians or try to gather information, try to keep the team protected.
Yep.
So
Uh,
there needs to be one of each on the team.
well, it be kind of, no, not really hard to do that, but
No, no. Um, as a matter of fact, Jan will tell you she wants to know nothing going in. If I'm with her, I'm going to do the history. I want to know. That way I can keep us safe.
right.
If
The
I'm
only
with
the only thing
someone,
that would make that difficult is, let's say I'm riding with you.
mhm,
I would want to be discussing the history of the place on the way there, but now
right,
we wouldn't be able to because Jan doesn't want to know anything.
Well,
right,
that's also makes it
right,
difficult for my part because I'm with you, Adrian. I always do the I always do the history too on these locations, just like I did, 2 years ago when I had that special Nick Files episode before a week before we went to the Abbey, where I
and
did
I
my
didn't
research.
watch it. I did not watch it for that reason.
Yeah,
If it's me now, if it's me and Jan, I am going to know the history. If it's me and someone else, I don't want to know the history, but I want someone else to know.
As long as somebody does.
Yeah, I need someone else to know to verify what I'm saying, or you know, to be able to keep us safe in case I get something and they're saying, okay, this is where you need to stop because they know that something happened here to a previous team or whatever the case might be. And you have to trust the person that does know the history to say, okay, this is where you need to pull back and either give me a chance to tell you what happened and you decide if you want to go, or we just pull out. That's your two, and that's the thing that I've seen here recently is actually it's becoming less common than it was, but or maybe it's the people I'm around. I'm not seeing it as much anymore because I've been very selective with people I have on my page, but I'm not seeing as much people pushing people to do things outside their limits. Um, Used to it was like, what, you think you're an investigator and you're being a pussy. Okay, when your gut tells you it's time to go, it's time to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no, you don't need to explain. When somebody on your team says, I'm done, they're targeting me, I'm out. You let them go without hackling them, without all that. You let them go outside. You have to trust your team. You have to be one when you're together.
I actually had a situation a number of years ago where we were at a location. There was three of us, and one of them was having a pretty bad attack. I personally think it was a panic attack
Right,
because he is one of those guys that really works himself up.
right, right.
Um, but he said that he felt like that every spirit in the house was coming at him.
And that's knowing our people. And that's trusting our people. Because let's say me, you, Jan, Nick, we're in a place. We know each other's triggers. We know when somebody says something, we know it's serious. We know that they're not just, talking for the camera, because we can turn them all off. It's going to be the same damn thing.
Well, what happened in this particular case is, all three of us got together in a vehicle, and it wasn't my car; it was the other guy's, his truck actually, and he was making a mockery of it to the point
Mm.
where he was even offering his gun to the guy. Say, if you need protection, here you go, a gun. Um, it just,
Uh, I'm going to say I believe in protection and guns. Um, I
yeah, but
have,
not for this particular instance.
right. So I had him in New Mexico, and thank God I did, because there was a pack of coyotes that come charging us.
Oh
I
God.
never had to use it. They weren't trying to harm us. I didn't have to use it. But the point is, if you're out in the open, yes, you might need it. Um, but to offer it to someone who is mentally unstable, absolutely fucking not.
Right. Um, so that so that night was very, very off-putting, and it eventually, well, it was one of the instances, but it wasn't too long after that this team went through what I call the big shake, and I'm sure you remember that particular incident. Uh,
I'm not sure which one, but there's been quite a few that we've been through.
well, my
Oh,
my team before you guys actually hopped on.
Okay.
Thi- yeah, this is the one that ultimately catapulted me to the general manager position.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Okay, so I think it would be safe to say that "thou shalt be informed" should be taken off of this because I can
yeah,
see.
I thought so.
Yeah, because informed of what? Um, it depends on your stance.
Yeah, Michael, go
It
Yeah,
ahead.
well, I mean,
depends.
if it's like the
Now,
way how I see it is, if it was like a private residence, like if they're asking, for help over there, I
nope.
no, not even that. Okay, well, that's just kind of how I saw it.
Well, no, you're right to a point, but they need to be more specific about informed about what. If you're at a location that um, you need to be informed if you're able to go in, if it's legal to go in, if it's okay to go in,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need to be informed on.
Well, that's what we're going to be talking about on the third commandment.
There we go. You do need to be informed on who is around you, because you have to trust who's with you. You do need to be informed on what to do if a spirit communicates with you. Um, Now, this was something that was a discussion with one of my friends, Paige. And I know Nick is on friends with this person and sees her posts quite often. But one of the comments was, if you are, let's say you're not even filming, but you're going in somewhere investigating. Whether there's camera on you, whether there's not, makes no difference. And you're going in looking for, there's Sarah that haunts there. Okay. And you go in calling for her. And she manifests in front of you, whether it's partially, whether it's whatever, however she communicates with you that you see it or hear it, feel it. And you run out screaming. That leads people to believe, number one, you didn't believe she was going to manifest in front of you when you asked her to. Or you didn't believe there were spirits in the first damn place. A startle is understandable because we can ask spirits to manifest 1,000 times and they're going to do it maybe once. I get that. A startle, understandable. To run out screaming like you've been grabbed by the balls? Absolutely not. Because that means you didn't expect it to happen in the first place. That means you didn't believe it could happen in the first place.
There needs to be a level of maturity when you do these things because of, if something unexpected does happen. Uh,
Right.
there needs to be a level of
Maturity is a very variable word these days.
true,
Yeah.
true, but there's maturity, professionalism. Um,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
I understand the people. I don't agree with it. I understand it. The ones that will, I've seen the damn affidavits and contracts and all that bullshit for Travel Channel. I've seen it. You do have to agree that you're going to fake evidence if it's not there because they're sending you places. I get it. Some people might call it a sellout. Others might call it, I have worked all my life for this. I've gotten nowhere and now it's time for payout. I don't judge. What I do judge is when they say, oh, this was all real behind the scenes. No, it was not. You know it and I know it. Stop. I have a problem with people.
Sorry, I'm just reading what Jan said. Make sure Scott's not with me.
I'm out.
you, you know. Okay, let's go to what Jan said here.
Oh, Lord.
No, I'm talking about the next comment up. So there's a time to have fun, and there's a time to be real.
There is. And your teammates and people around you need to know the difference. They need to know you because you don't go to Waverly Hills and go with a team that doesn't know you and start throwing rocks at them. And they're on live and a Facebook live trying to get real evidence and their followers and whatever. And they're saying, oh my gosh, this rock just fell from nowhere because they believe it did because they believe the people around you aren't going to be that damn stupid. But yet they are.
Right.
And then somebody comes on that live and says, disregard everything you just saw because so-and-so did it. I watched them do it. Disregard it. Because I know that person wouldn't have wanted that to happen.
Right. And I remember you coming to me that night and telling me about that.
Yeah. So, you have to know your team. When you're in any environment where you have a bunch of teams you don't know, anything can happen. I wouldn't put it out.
Right. There's a difference between trying to fake something and trying to prank somebody. Which,
Right.
Right.
And then you say, hey, I did it.
yeah. Well, you don't even have to do that. You see him as you go. Well, in the case of what Scott did to me and Nick at Crown Point,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nick and I will
Scott
come
did
up.
some shit at the Abbey, too.
Oh yeah.
But Jim was involved in that bullshit.
I got to
He
just show
he's
this
still
real quick. What Keith just said. Dead Files didn't ask me to fake anything; they wanted truth, and that's what I like
That's
about.
awesome. That
Well, and see,
I
that's why
love that.
that that's why, to be fully honest with you, because not only just myself, my dad is a big fan of that show. That was one of the reasons why, even though a lot of today's paranormal shows are definitely not as good, the Dead Files managed to survive for so long with what they did and not faking evidence or whatever the case is. They
I'm
just did it
actually
so well.
I'm actually really glad to hear that from somebody who was actually there, because
Yeah,
I'm going to say another show that I was on is not that way. I'm not going to call it out. I'm not going to.
just to me,
I'm
Dead
just
Files
going to
just stayed
say,
just to me,
huh?
Dead Files to me just seemed like they just stayed true to what they said that the show was going to be about, and that's what it
Right,
boils down to. It
right,
just sucks that they had to end the show so abruptly. I mean, I know they said that they are trying to look for maybe a new network or whatever the case, to continue it, but as of right now, nothing is turned up.
right. And I'm going to say the show I was on, which I'm not going to call it out. I'm not going to. I on the spotlight in front of the camera, and this is what they do. I caved and let them lead me in the direction they wanted. That's why I don't put it out there that that's what I was on. I don't put it on my profile. Oh, I was on this show. No, because I sold out, because I let them lead me in that direction. Now, there are other people on that same show that I have a lot of respect for. Mine just wasn't that. I don't know what happened to them, and I don't know if theirs was that way. I'm not going to down them. I just know I fucked up. So I don't put myself out there as, oh, yeah, I was on the show. No, no, because I would also have to input. I was allowed to be led in a direction that was not correct.
I can definitely see where that can be easily done, especially when you don't really know what's going on.
Right.
Yep. And that was my first show. That was my first. No.
Yeah. Well,
And that is no excuse for what I did. Not at all. Because I let them lead me and I knew better.
I'm just glad that I didn't go with the reboot of Ghost Hunters because I did get that call,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that show actually ultimately ended up to bad things on my team. But
Yep.
Well, Jeremy, I got it. I think now that it's been considered 2 years, I think I should say think now I could say about that email that you once sent me about send me about the offering that I received about a show. Remember
Mm-hmm.
that?
I remember.
I
Yeah,
forgot about it until just now. Yeah,
yeah. I still remember it ever since. I have remembered that ever since that time. Considering it's been 2 years, I mean it shouldn't be. And I haven't heard anything recently, so it's probably should be safe to say something now, right?
yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
safe.
You know, Well, obviously, for those who are watching, they that don't know about this, I actually did receive an offering too from the Travel Channel about trying to appear on some. It was from an executive producer who had done some of the shows on Travel Channel, but he's also done he also did other shows too for like TLC, the Discovery Channel, even did Shark Week, in fact. So he's been like on a lot of the different programs, and I don't still to this day I still don't know exactly what the specific purpose was that they were gonna have me on for, but they did have me on for a Zoom interview, and the interview went for about a good 40 minutes at least, and it sounded like to me that it was supposed I was supposed to be one of. Turned out I was not the only one that was supposed to be part of this. I was one of either 4 or 5 or 6 people
Yeah.
that they were going to include. It seemed like to me, it seemed like they were to me like they were trying to set up like a pilot episode for maybe
Oh.
some upcoming new paranormal series. Exactly what it would have been, I still don't know to this day. But
That's my understanding that it was supposed to be a pilot.
Well,
yeah,
here's the thing. Let's look back. Just like Keith said, we, I don't know. Have y'all seen Keith's episode?
I have not. Or maybe I have, but
You need to.
how long ago?
I
How
You,
long
know
ago
I haven't.
How long ago did
Keith,
it
how
air?
long ago was it? I know it's been at least 5 years, probably longer.
Yeah,
But
so maybe I have seen it, but obviously I didn't know who Keith was at the time.
right, right. So here's the thing. We have a choice to make. Would we rather be remembered?
Hey, Braxton, there he is.
I wonder where you were, bub. Um, Here's the thing. Would we rather be remembered as someone who stood our ground? Like Keith just said, he has turned down other shows just because they asked him to embellish. I fucked up. I will be the first to tell you I fucked up. It is not played in the United States, thank God, because I was not good at fucking up. I'm going to tell you that right now. I was not good at fucking up. I don't lie well. And I'm glad I don't. Our overseas friends have seen my episode. I have seen my episode. I wish it didn't exist.
Do you have a copy of it?
I do. I
I
wish it did not exist.
want to see it.
I'll send it to you.
I was gonna say I'm surprised that you haven't seen it since.
Shut up, Jan. Are you talking about mine?
Well, no, I thought she was referring to which episode Keith was on Dead
I
Pod.
God, I hope so, because I can't remember what mine was. Here's the thing. I fucked up. I will be the first to tell you I fucked up. And that's why I went back and asked that they do not air it. They did air it overseas. We have friends overseas, unfortunately.
Well, you guys know me with we definitely have a lot overseas with international connections that I've
Right.
expanded us to.
No, these are friends overseas on things.
On things. I thought you meant just the paranormal community in
no.
general.
On
Okay.
things, which sent me the episode and tried to tell me, oh, you did a great job. I had to say, look, this is what happened. I'm going to be honest. This is what happened. I fucked up. Did I lie about it? Absolutely not. But I was led in a direction that I did not think about before that show.
So
I
I'll
didn't have time
message you
to
and
think.
say, yeah, this absolutely sucked.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to think about, could this have really happened? Probably not. Now, the events that I said absolutely happened. The way they portrayed it, I don't believe is true.
That's where they get you with the editing.
Yep.
Denise, hey, long time no see.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a minute. Her and
you know, that's one of those things that I wish I would have never done. It didn't cost me a dime to go. I went. It cost me the food, maybe. Um,
Well,
but
think of it this way: you had an experience,
it was an experience that I would definitely think twice before doing again
but at least
because,
now you know the process, or at
Well,
least
yeah,
and
wow.
also now to kind of somewhat share, not necessarily, but just a tiny portion of that experience because this was coming from the Travel Channel. Also, for my part, and I still wonder to this day. I get that this was supposed to be some kind of pilot episode, but I thought to myself, if this really got picked up by the Travel Channel, what would be the exact intentions of what they're looking for, like especially from somebody like myself. I mean, yes, obviously they know I'd be a paranormal investigator, but what else exactly are they looking for? And that does, and while I was excited at the time, I thought to myself, well, they're having numerous times they want people to fake evidence and stuff like that. So it really kind of was that example of be careful what you wish for.
yep, absolutely. And I got sucked into, oh my goodness, I'm going to be able to tell my story. When I got there, yeah, I was able to tell my story all right, but it had to be more interesting than the story really was.
Well,
And I should have known better. I
yeah.
should have known better, but I followed it anyway. And that was me. That was my fault. That had nothing to do with anyone else. I could have shut it down right then and said, no, that's not what happened. But I didn't.
Well,
But you were also technically under contract, weren't you?
yeah.
No, no,
Well,
there
well,
was no
actually,
contract.
since you're talking about this, Adrian, it's bringing back memories from the interview that I had. There, I just kind of recalling a little bit of what I can remember was there was some parts of the interview I do remember in which the guy that interviewed me, he asked me to say like some certain things, like say it in a particular kind of way
Yep, yep,
because it was all.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what he asked. I mean, he didn't ask me to do that like multiple times. He was only asking me to do it on just a few parts of what I was
Yep,
explaining in my sentences.
exactly. Yep, yep.
I
And
actually spoke about. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on. Go on.
this wasn't Travel Channel that I was on. This was different. But the point is, they do lead you, and that's their job. I get it. I get it. That's how they get paid. They don't get paid for, you know, reality a lot of times. I get it. I get it. The person doing it is the one at fault for allowing it to happen. There's another very well known person in the field right now that was there with me. I'm not saying her story wasn't real, it was. But they didn't have to lead her because her story was very real. And she knew how to do it. My story was real too, but it wasn't as, I guess, exciting. So they led it into a direction that might have been. I don't know. The other person is still a very well known person. Um, I love her. I respect her. I do. She's also now in with the Annabelle tour. When I met her, amazing. I have nothing bad to say about her. But holy shit, our stories were very different. And she sticks by hers, which great. That means everything she said was true. Wonderful. They led me in a direction that I had to question. Everything, facts were true, But when they led me in the direction, do you think that this person might have been into dark stuff? I had to think about it. On the spot, you're going, maybe. That's where I fucked up. That's where that wasn't the true me because I don't know. I don't have that evidence and I do not know.
You know, I have to admit too, because probably in this case, about a year after I had my interview with the executive producer,
Mm-hmm.
I actually spoke about even though I didn't obviously like Jeremy, as you remember, he told me not to say too much about it to a lot, especially back then.
Yeah, the reason I said that is um, I don't like announcing anything
Did you get it from mom and
right,
dad?
unless it actually happens, and that especially goes for if you're being interviewed for potentially to be on TV. Because if you were to say, "Hey, I got interviewed for TV, yeah, I could be on a show," and then that gets people excited, and then if it
Yep.
doesn't happen, now you have to explain. Okay, it didn't happen. I
right.
just like to avoid that and say, you know what? I'm just going to wait until it does happen. It's going to air. Then
Yeah.
I'll say something.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's
No,
why.
this was completely my fault. I did this on my own. I I screwed up on my own. Nobody else did this for me. And that's why I warn people against it. That's why I don't mind talking about it because I did this on my own. I screwed up.
Well,
Well, what I
we,
was gonna,
we need to move on here.
Yeah, number two.
Yeah, number two.
you
And
guys,
already,
guys, I'll be back in just a second.
All right.
okay. Um, so, commandment number two, thou shalt be prepared. That's
That's
definitely
a
a
good
given.
one.
Yeah, that's definitely a given. I don't know if I would say that should be a commandment because that should be a given no matter what.
Yeah, but so should you will not covet thy neighbor's wife. But here we are.
Okay, I don't even want to know where that one came from.
The real Ten Commandments: Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Don't
Yeah,
screw your don't screw your friend's wife.
true, but that is something that can actually really get you in trouble. Not well, I guess not being
That's
prepared.
why this commandment.
Yeah. Okay, I can see your point. Um, thou shalt not trespass.
Right.
I got some stories on that one.
Mm.
Um, this one here, I would tell. It was me and this other person, no longer on the team, thankfully. Um, we went to a cemetery, and it was like a sort of a cemetery on a hill,
Mm-hmm.
and it's it's truly out in the middle of nowhere. There is a house like, somewhere down the road, and apparently this house has a huge property, huge um, lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
So what he was telling me about this cemetery is that it's on a hill and there's a cave underneath it,
Okay.
and he would go into this cave. It's pretty cool to go down there. And I thought, okay, yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there. There's a fence around this property, which happens to border the cemetery.
Ah.
I thought, okay, well, now we're not going to be able to go to the cave. And he said, no, we'll go. What are you talking about? We'll go to the cave, but you got to jump a fence. Yeah,
Oh no.
that's exactly what I told him. No, so he went.
Bye.
Yeah. Um, I never went to that cave, but holy cow, that's and he was supposed to be a leader on the team, and you can't have that.
That's also
Cannot have that. And then there was a what was it, 5 years ago? Yeah, it was 5 years ago before we had our big split.
mm-hmm.
I went to Vegas, and a certain somebody was telling me about this pet cemetery outside of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me go out there, go check it out. Even during the daytime, it's pretty active. Okay, so I went, I got out, and started walking towards because I couldn't see it from where I had to park.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I get closer, wait a minute, there's a fence around this thing.
Yeah.
I texted him about it. He said, just jump over the fence. No, I'm not going to do that. There's
No.
a fence around there for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. It ain't for looks.
Yeah. Um, and I don't get why so many people out there seem to be okay with trespassing.
Uh, yeah. Because a lot of these YouTubers are putting out there, oh, we're doing abandoned properties.
Okay, I got one for you on that one. Um, do you remember a few weeks ago I went to go spend a day with my brother who lives 2 hours down?
Yeah.
So he and I were born in the same hospital, 9 years apart, down in Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
And the hospital got torn down not quite 10 years ago. There's a new hospital sitting there, and after spending the day up there, I come home, I get on the computer, I get on YouTube, and out of the blue, there is a video of these kids who went through the hospital.
Oh, is this about? Is this? I'm assuming this is about like trespassing, right? Because I know I was off for a few minutes.
No, it's about the hospital that I was born in.
Okay.
So,
Oh, good night, Keith. He's getting off.
you know, um, so I'm looking through this thing, and I don't know how long they were in there, but towards the end of the video, they were almost caught by somebody. I don't know if it was police or security or what, but they were almost caught, and they were able to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And they put the video up, and I made a comment on there. I'm a paranormal investigator. My first reaction to you is you should not be doing this.
Yeah.
That's trespassing. It's illegal, and this, that, and the other. I would condemn you for this.
Yeah.
Having said that, I was born in this hospital, and far as I know, it was the only time I was ever inside this hospital was when I was born.
Yeah.
So, and I'm big into nostalgia, so this actually gives me an idea of what this hospital used to look like.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of torn there.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up saving the video.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I saved that video. Um, because I just lately I just have this thing about this whole nostalgia thing. That's why my brother and I got together for the day.
You
So
know it's called getting old, right?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I met up with my brother. Yeah.
So I liked the video, but at the same time, I didn't like the circumstances behind the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but the whole thing about trespassing is so many people think it's okay, and then they try to run away from security or police to avoid being
Yep.
caught.
Right. Right.
Um,
So,
Well,
did
and
you have fun with your brother?
what's that?
Did you have fun with your brother?
Oh, we had a blast.
Yeah.
We had a
That's usually
blast.
how it goes. I mean, we gotta we gotta see family when we can.
Yeah,
you know, Braxton also makes a good point here too. He says if someone has no being business being on a property, they should stay away from it. And he also said something else is trespassing will get them a blade and a bullet. And that's the other thing too.
It
Some of
can.
these trust.
you
I was
can.
gonna say, well, that's what I was gonna say. Even it, that's the other thing. Some of these guys don't seem to realize is that it's not always police and security you got to worry about. Even if it is
Right.
a location that is truly abandoned and not being watched by anybody, that doesn't mean that there could be some vagrants living there. I mean, in fact, I could
Right.
just throw a quick example out there, and Pickle Tom always talks about this on his live streams. Is when he went to a location called Dinosaur Lake, which is kind of like on the outskirts of Philadelphia, and
Mhm.
he doesn't go there as much. He used to before, but he said you try going there now, and there's like a whole bunch of homeless people living in that area, and he's just like there was one time I was joking about this with him, but he was being truthful about this. Is that you know said sometimes it does get scary out in the woods of Philadelphia in the abandoned
Yes.
locations, as well as the abandoned locations, because you don't know what you're walking into.
Yep. And honestly, I mean, we're looking at that now. Here. Everywhere. You don't know when you're walking in the dark, and I never was like this. I'm now scared of walking in the daylight in places I don't know. And that's not me. That's just not me. Of
That's
course, I'm not
just
carrying.
how the world is getting to be.
Yeah,
Well, and even
and
I even learned that even a location like I mean I know it's now actually being operated like people have opened it up for investigations.
mhm.
I recently had learned that if you think of a location like Broadhead Manor, although now you can do investigations there, 10, 15, 20 years before that, it was completely abandoned.
Yeah.
I don't know if it had as much security, back then, but for probably about a good few years, there was a homeless guy that was living in the building. I mean, he literally was living in this abandoned building for quite a number of years. No one even knew that he was there. No police officers, no security. He lived there. So imagine if 15, 20 years ago, you went to Broadhead before the Historical Society took over. Imagine trying to go into that building then and having to encounter this. I mean, you don't know if this guy is friendly or like a lot of homeless people. Sometimes they may carry a knife or a machete with them.
Well, there's a reason they do
Yeah.
It's for
because
protection,
they're
but
getting targeted everywhere they
yeah, it's
go.
protection.
Here's the thing. Let's think about Waverly. We all know Waverly. We know the history of Waverly. There was a homeless man
Yep,
that stayed in Waverly. That man protected that building. That's
along
what he
with his
was there. I mean, a lot
along
of
with
people
his
didn't know he was
along with
there,
his dog.
but he did it. That was
Yeah,
his home.
they said that. Yeah, that was the homeless guy with his dog, and supposedly he
Yeah,
died. In the same exact building that he's
right.
supposedly still there even after death. Like he's probably what I would consider out of all the deaths at Waverly, he's probably the most recent death to have occurred. In a more well, the one death that had occurred in a more recent era compared to when the building was in actual operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's things we don't really know simply because we don't know. When I lived in Kentucky, long before this was something you could tour, it was only for like Halloween, and they had a haunted house there.
Yep.
That's not the same. It is absolutely not the same. I was there for the haunted house. No. But how do we know? They had put it out on TV before that. If anyone could spend the night in this house, the whole night, they get such and such amount of money.
Oh, that kind of haunted. No,
Oh,
Yeah,
isn't that you said it was like the first time it was on?
she's talking about those extreme haunted houses
yeah.
where they basically attack you.
I
Uh,
was thinking I was thinking of this particular show, although I don't think Waverly was on that particular show. I was thinking immediately of thinking like there was that old show that was called MTV's Fear that involved like teenagers and young adults going in. But I have surprisingly I never even really watched the show. But I've seen which locations they've gone to. Although I don't think they went to Waverly. I'm gonna have to look back.
This
I
was
thought that
local.
was what you
No,
described though. It did sound similar.
they
yeah, no,
did.
this was local. This was
Okay.
like local people putting this out. Nobody was able to spend the night. Now, I had nothing to do with the paranormal at the time. I had no clue. But the point is, people tried, people failed. Because I went into the clutter house when I was 12. It, you have to be old to know the clutter house. But anyway, look it up. It was like 5 miles down the road from me. It is still a scary place. I don't know what they've done with it recently. It was people lived there, then it was a museum, and I don't know because people kept breaking in. It was a huge murder scene, but I don't think until you're actually there for an actual investigation and not this hyped up bullshit, that's a different story at that point. When you realize, oh, this and this happened here, you look at the pictures and like there was real people here and you see the people in pictures. That's different. So breaking in, absolutely not.
Definitely not.
For any reason. Absolutely
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Braxton. He said he hadn't heard of that one. Yeah, Braxton. That was a Fear. MTV's Fear was a show that broadcasted 25 years ago, back in 2000. But it only, even in spite of its popularity, it only ran for 2 seasons. It wasn't a major hit on MTV back then. I think you might be able to find full episodes on YouTube or on some of the other shows on some other streaming sites. But yeah, you never trespass. You just don't for any reason whatsoever.
And
Yeah,
I believe, like Braxton said, I absolutely believe family is not always flesh and blood. Backstory: I'm adopted, so I didn't know who my blood parents were till I was 23. At that point, one parent, I went, "The fuck." I'm glad I wasn't a part of that. I was I was adopted by doctors, so higher expectations of me um, than what my real parents would have had. Then I met the other side. Uh, I have to say, my dad was an amazing man. He is. He got his balls cut off by his wife and is no longer allowed to talk to me, but that's up to him, not my problem. Um, Blood is the family I made, the family I chose. Your real blood means nothing unless you want it to. I've learned that through adoption. That's just the way it is. I have a brother that is blood. I have another brother. He's an acquaintance. I don't know who the fuck he is. That's just the way it is. And that's okay because family is what we choose. Because I believe in the end, our souls are meant to connect with who we connect with. That's
And I can,
a soul
yeah,
contract.
and I can
That,
attest to that.
yeah. That's a soul contract we make long before we're born. Nothing we can do about it. That's just the way it is.
Well, you
Uh,
guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Adrian.
I mean, I don't know if Jan's still on, but we're very unlikely friends. But when we saw each other, there was a connection. Why?
That
I don't know.
sometimes
Well,
you just can't explain those connections.
You can't.
definitely.
You
And
can't.
in some cases, maybe that's for the better.
Right.
Well,
And why can you not explain? You have blood that you would just rather say, "I don't belong to you. Just go away." How
Yep.
can you
well,
explain that?
and also these connections. I mean, you guys know all too well. I mean, because we've talked about this. Yeah, she's still on. We talked about this numerous times about this. Even goes as far as to us, how we pretty much have become a
Mhm.
family ourselves.
Mhm.
You know
That's
how much
exactly
we've
what
really,
she was talking about.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but not only that. I mean, obviously, it's not just with us. I mean, it's grown specifically throughout this paranormal community. But you guys have seen recently that outside of the paranormal field, like even with my group of friends that I hang out with, we
Mhm.
have, and I'm going to be seeing them actually again tomorrow. We have grown so close to the point that regardless, it definitely is not about blood. And even more amazingly is my group of friends that I have now. We're a more, we've become a much more racially diverse group.
Yeah.
So it's comprised of whites, Native Americans. We have an Asian. We have someone from Turkish. All these different ethnicities and different backgrounds and stuff. In fact, that flag display that I've shown you guys. Um, the one of my friends who's actually Chinese, even though I wasn't going to get like a Chinese flag, to begin with, she actually requested that I add it to the flag display, which I decided then to kind of like expand not just on the paranormal connections, but also representing like our me and my friends' ancestries.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, I got her. She doesn't know about this yet. In fact, I'm going to surprise her. I have ordered the Chinese flag along with another one to add to the display, and it just goes to show that
Well, you better hope she's not watching this show, because then you just spoiled the surprise.
as she hasn't really watched a lot of the shows. I have sent the links to my friends, but a lot of times they're either working or they got a lot of other things going on. So I honestly doubt she'd be watching it. But the point I'm trying to say is that it just goes to show, and also last no not last Friday, almost 2 weeks ago. Did you guys see what I wrote about how I had the friends over and it was kind of like a therapy night? Did you guys
Yeah.
see that?
Yep.
That was so. Long story short on that, because I don't want to make it for too long. That was going to be one of two occasions, only two occasions, because all these other friends of mine that I hang out with were only people I had recently met. A lot of them, they didn't know what happened to me back in November. That they didn't know that I almost died, from my brain injuries. So I actually sat down in front of them, like just right across from where I'm sitting right now, and talked to them in full detail about the events that happened to me back in November when I had my brain bleeds. And I'm not going to lie, as it said in the post, it was very emotional. I was holding back tears. I think even a few of these friends were actually trying. I think a few of them were even trying to hold back tears themselves. I mean, it was a it was a really emotional experience for them. And then after I was done, and of course, then the tears just came out immediately afterwards. Like I just couldn't hold it in anymore. They all just surrounded me and just gave me this huge like group hug. In fact, actually, one of the guys, while I was telling the story, he literally stops me while like interrupts me. He comes up to me, holds my hand, and he goes, "I love you, man. I really." And
There you
when
go.
people Yeah, it's like, and I get what some people may think. When people say stuff like that, most of the time they really don't actually mean it. They're just trying to be, better friends or whatnot. But when I looked at this guy in the eye, I realized then that
There
he
you go.
really meant that.
There you
And
go. And
and
that's
then
the thing. How do you feel when you're with those people? What does your gut tell you
it was
when you're
just,
with certain people?
and I have a great answer for it. It felt like to me that, in spite that we only had met recently, during the early part of this year,
Doesn't matter.
that these are the people that I'm probably going to be with. I'm going to be staying. I definitely have a great connection with. We
Yep.
definitely have many years ahead of us, that I know we're going to be together as a true family.
Yep.
And we really have said on numerous occasions that, just like the same in our community, we've often said numerous times, we love each other and that
Yep.
we're not going away. And I even said to them at one time, which I said to them, I knew this was the perfect group to tell such an occasion like this because, yes, we all have different types of social groups, especially, being the youngest one here. I've had numerous different other social groups in my life throughout my teens and 20s.
Hmm.
And compared to all those other previous groups, to be perfectly honest with you, this undoubtedly had to be the best true social group and that I could certainly call family. Because if this was other groups that if my brain bleeds occurred, years ago, and if I had talked about this to a different social group,
Yeah.
I don't think they would have really given that much care or respect.
Of course not.
Yeah,
But
because they probably would be like, "All right, so when are we gonna do this, or when are we
yeah.
gonna watch movie or something?"
Yeah.
These guys, they gave their full on attention, and I even said to them, "I don't intend to talk for too long. I'm only gonna talk maybe for 20 minutes, maybe half hour at the most." In the end, it was only about a 20-minute speech, if you will,
Yeah.
and I mean, it just they had their full on, and like I said, there were some of these guys were almost crying when I was telling them about what happened. So then I knew at that point that this was my other family I had.
But here's the thing you got to remember some people are there for a reason,
Yeah,
some people are there for a season. Now, both of those are going to feel like family. Both of those are going to feel like they're supposed to be there. They are,
yeah.
but it's for a reason. And sometimes that reason is to show you something and move on. I am older. We're going to leave it there. Um, yes, I have friends that I still communicate with from high school. Do they understand me? Do I tell them everything? Absolutely not. They might know this much of the top of my life. That's it. There is only, I can only think of one, and my husband, that actually knows every facet in every part of my life.
Well, he kind of has to.
Yeah, and that's because they ask. That's because I know that when I tell them this, they're going to give me advice that I need. They're going to give me facts because I don't need some sugar coated bullshit. And then there's Jeremy that I will go to with, hey, what the fuck? And I can count on him to give me straightforward, unbiased opinion. These are the people in your life that you expect honesty from. You don't expect some sugar coated bullshit, but they will also walk you through whatever it is you're about to go through because they gave you facts.
I can still remember, they asked me after when I gave that story to them. The
Mm-hmm.
first, after they gave me the hug. In fact, my friend Rochelle, that I often hang out with a lot, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she gave me this hug out of everybody, like to the point where she didn't want to let go, and I was kind of feeling the same way. But even while that was occurring, one of the other friends had asked me. how does it feel that you told your story and you got it off your chest?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
Right.
at first, I couldn't really quite answer it. It was like, it's amazing how sometimes the simplest of questions can be hard to answer. But eventually, I did say that it felt refreshing,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
was a very blessed feeling to know that they were all willing to sit and listen to what
Right.
happened. And not only, and then after that, it's like it triggered like a domino effect because Rochelle next decided to tell a story about her own. It was, I mean, they all did agree like what they had went through was probably not as bad as what I went through because again, I almost died when
But
that
you
happened.
didn't.
But and
That's
I
the
yeah, no,
that's the
well,
point. You
well, yeah, and I
didn't.
didn't. When I didn't, definitely not. But you know, that's when they started telling their stories. Rochelle's again wasn't as big, but we still offered the comfort that they did for me.
But was it
That
as
when,
big for her? Could that
yeah,
have been the biggest thing that ever happened in her life?
well, yeah, and then you get what I mean by that. Yeah, and someone else decided to tell their story, and that was another one that ended us with a lot of tears. A fourth
Mhm.
person did. I mean, I was that night, I was the only one that was expecting to just speak about this, and then maybe we were going to do something afterwards. But it just seemed like it just had this domino effect, and it just became like this therapy night. But
Right. Right. And
it
that's
goes
what
to,
you needed.
yeah, that was something I guess I wasn't expecting it, but they told me just like I've always done with a lot of my ideas. My story inspired them to do the same thing. And when they also tell you such a story like that, not only are they looking for the same love, respect, care,
Mhm.
and response like I did,
Right. Right.
but more importantly, too, you're getting considering that I haven't known these people for a full year just yet. You're getting to know those people even better, even more than you did previously.
But soul contracts are completely different. Let's
Yes,
look at I had not known Jan for a day. And I can tell you right then, she knew everything she needed to know about me immediately. And what draws somebody to a situation where they will put up with people or people please, but really don't give two shits about people. What will draw somebody like that to someone and they see them and go, I want a friend like that? That's what
it's
I did.
it's kind of that typical kind of feeling where, like, to kind of compare with your case, Adrian, and with
Mm-hmm.
my case with what I'm going through now with my friends that I have.
Yeah.
It's you hear this a lot, like in movies and TV. Like it's more usually when you find the love of your life, but at the same time, it's really not that different. It really was kind of that feeling of
It is.
where have you guys been all my life? It just
And that's it. They come when they're needed.
yeah,
That's it.
and it goes
Some
and like
people come for a reason,
yeah,
some people come for a season. So I am my age. We're going to leave it at that. And I can count
You
on
do
one
that.
hand.
You do that every episode.
I know it, right? I can count on one hand, how many people, if I was dying, that I would call. I, I mean, know that I'm dying within the next hour that I would call because those are the people that have been there. Those are the people that would understand what I'm saying when I say,
right.
I know I'm dying. And they're like, you're fucking talking. You're not dying. They will understand what you're saying. That yes, I am. And I just wanted to say bye.
I still remember because considering Jan's watching that,
Mhm.
and she'll definitely, I know she'll say this when I bring this up, like all this talk about the connections and whatnot, and also like
That's
the
right.
idea of dying, or like in my case with the brain bleeds. I
Right.
still recall that she messaged me. I mean, obviously, yes, I had like hundreds of investigators messaging, checking in to see how I was doing, but
Right.
I
But
do
did they
remember
really
seeing,
know you?
yeah, I do recall Jan's message that she had, even though I wasn't able to respond because that's when I was in
Always.
real terrible pain. I mean, I couldn't respond to anybody, of course. She just gave me this message of encouragement.
Yep.
She said
Yep.
she knew that I was terrified. She knew
Mhm.
that it just felt like that the end was near for me. But she was going to make sure that even though she was not there personally, because we're talking thousands of miles apart, she was still there in some way because she said something like she was making sure she would still, hug me in
Yep.
some way to offer that kind of comfort,
Yep.
to know that
Yep.
I was not, I was not truly alone, whether I knew it or not.
Hmm. Right. And when somebody says that, when they really mean it and when they're just talking some shit.
Yeah, and I knew Jan definitely meant that. No, in
Right.
fact, I even showed those messages obviously to my mom. Well,
Right.
because obviously she was there, and she looked at the messages and she goes like, "See, you have a lot of people right now who really do care about you,
Right.
and
Right.
all over the world too. I
Right.
mean, like
And
it
like
was,
Braxton just said,
yeah,
you attract that energy attracts, you're an empath. So you attract other energies that want to use you, that want to be, well, they don't have good intentions. But the point is, you still are attracted to that energy until they show you different, which is okay. That makes you a good person.
yes,
You have to get screwed. The difference is, do you understand when you're screwed and walk away? Or do you have somebody that says, hey, this is what's happening, and can you see it? Because a lot of times you can't. As an empath, you cannot see it. You refuse to see it.
right,
You have to have that counterbalance.
And all of us have been there numerous times.
Absolutely. You
yeah,
have to have that counterbalance. And that's when you lean on the friends you know will be straight with you,
Right.
whether you get mad at them or not. Jan and I have been mad at each other so many times. It makes no difference. We are still right there because we know the other one's telling the truth. We may be mad at the truth and just shut down for a while. But the
Some-
fact is, we know it's the truth.
Sometimes you need to.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what that soulmate does not mean your lover, your
no, it
person
doesn't always
you're
mean
married
that.
to.
It can mean your best friend too, and that's kind of the case.
Soulmate
Like I
is
said with,
someone you've known
oh,
before
and
you
that's
were even born.
that's kind of the case, like I said, about my current group of friends that I have right now, and that goes back to like with what you were saying, is that they are another family that I look up to. We may not be blood, we may be of different, and in our case, we may be of different racial and country backgrounds,
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to
it
us.
doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, it's
Blood
some
doesn't
people.
mean anything
It,
because
it,
we all have the same creator.
exactly. So it
Where
just
that creator put people, flung them all across the world, makes no difference.
Well, and I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to throw this out. That same therapy night, one of the other friends who spoke about her story, she had told. I mean, we only knew a few details about this prior, but we didn't know as much as we did until she told us. But she, for the most part, sadly, had basically been disowned by her actual family. I mean, the exact reasons behind it, I'm still not entirely sure. In fact, that was the person that was getting married that I went to that wedding to a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
So, and I have to admit, when we went to that, and although neither her or her now husband's families were there, except for, well, for her husband, his brother showed up, but that was pretty much it. it's like he got, so in some ways it's like he got to have some family be there, but be there for him, but for her it wasn't, and it just felt like when I saw that, that
Yeah,
unfold, it definitely
that's
gave me
hard.
a yeah, it just definitely gave me a sick feeling in my stomach just to look out there, knowing that this was like one of the best nights of her life, and look out there and just see no one, no one in her family, nobody that cares, and so we felt the same kind of way. And she told me prior to all this, she had been involved with drugs. She had been involved with hanging out with the wrong crowds of people. She even at one point was almost homeless on one
Yeah,
occasion.
yeah,
And yes, obviously she's so much more cleaned up, now that she's got a place to live and whatever. But unfortunately, her family has still cut ties with her. So once again, it just goes to show that again after we experience, she told us the story that, like you said, we obviously were meant, all of us were meant to be together as a group like this and as a family for a very good reason.
yeah, yeah. Either for now or for later. I mean, we can't. We don't know what soul contracts we made before we were born,
And
but
that's
we know
honest.
when we meet someone.
And we know, and obviously, we all do agree. Like, we can't predict the future, what's going to happen. We
No,
definitely can't.
absolutely not.
But we're still, maintaining that grip of hope that this group that we have now can last for many years on end,
Oh yeah,
because to us, there's we're not breaking away from this, and we love
it's
each other's
respect.
company. We always love doing fun stuff together, and a lot of us. And what better way to do it too when a lot of us are still young to do so? Like, because a lot of us in our group are obviously now in our late 20s and early 30s.
It's respect.
Very much respect.
It's trust. It's respect. It's being able to trust that the person you're talking to is going to tell you the truth, and trust them to tell you the truth, and they are trusting that you are not going to hate them for very long after you tell them the truth. But it's your job to tell the truth, regardless of how they feel, how they're going to react, or you think they're going to react, because sometimes your thought is different than reality. But we always think the worst about how they're going to react. Our
Right.
job is to tell the truth regardless. Jen and I have been through so much truth. Have we been mad? Absolutely. Have we come back and thought, holy shit, that was right? Absolutely. And that's the way it works. Yeah, we have vowed
Yeah.
our husbands are probably going to die before us. That's the way it is. We already know what the house looks like we're going to live in. We already know how we're going to do this. Um, that's just the way it is. And hopefully we get to live that out. I'll be thankful if we do. But honestly, we have to be truthful. If we're not, we're placating somebody's bullshit.
Right. And
And we can't do that. We just can't
that's
if
something
we're
I've
true to
learned
ourselves.
that's something I've learned previously from previous groups that I thought that were people that I thought were my friends, and then
Yeah.
find out later on that they had just, again, especially somebody with autism, and these were a lot of people that didn't have it. I
Yep.
was just that kind of person in which they used me until I wasn't to their advantage
Right.
anymore.
Right.
So when I
But
when I'm with these people, I mean, even though probably a good majority of them probably don't have autism themselves, I could just feel that full on connection. That, like
sure,
I said, it's
just
full
because you
on
don't
respect.
have it, just
Yeah,
like I was talking earlier about having a panic attack this week. I've
right.
only had one other one in my life, but I knew what it was. Just because somebody else may not have those panic attacks doesn't mean they can't connect. That doesn't mean they can't understand. And even if they don't understand exactly what it was, they understand something happened. And that's all they need to understand is something happened that was out of my control. It's It's human. And that's where we've gotten away from. If you watch animals, and Jan will be the first to tell you, we need to go back to our animalistic instinct because we
Yep.
have it. We have it. But look at dogs. They correct each other with just a snap. And that's like us saying, watch yourself, check yourself.
Ghost has
You don't
been
have to
doing
actually
an awful lot.
bite. Yeah, yeah. They don't actually have to bite each other, they just snap. And the other one understands. They don't look them in the eye as a challenge. They'll look away and they'll be like, okay, I understand. But they feel each other's emotions. They know what that one's going to do before we do it. We have that capability.
Yep.
We just don't use it. Why? Because we're reading books, we're reading whatever the hell else, listening to other people that are fake. We have it. Use it. I don't understand. Why aren't we using it?
Yeah,
Our gut
really.
instinct tells us this person may not have our best interest, but we go, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. That's fine, but use that guard while you're doing it. We don't do that. We either go all in or we go, I don't like the looks of that person. I'm not giving them a chance. There's a happy medium there. Give them a chance, but have that guard up when you know your gut's saying something different. Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, really.
Because there's too much outside influence. If we sit with ourselves for a while, just ourselves, and follow our gut instinct, you'd be amazed. Somehow we ain't doing it though.
And we had gotten tricked numerous
Mhm.
times due to outside interference.
Because we refuse to listen to our gut before we gave the chance.
Right. And that had, I don't want to say gotten us into trouble, but it's gotten us into trouble.
I'm glad we gave the chance simply because now we know for sure. There's no doubt. We're not looking back going, well, maybe if. No, we know.
No, there is no maybes in the one that we're probably talking about. Um, Due to the lateness of the hour, we are not going to be getting through all 10 commandments.
Next week.
Yeah, we'll do them next week, but let's try to do get at least five, because the next one here is uh, very self-explanatory. Thou shalt be respectful.
And that's in all of life.
Yeah, I don't
Which
think.
one? Thou shalt be respectful.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay. So I had, funny enough, one of those friends I was just talking about was just calling me, and I had to say, "Hey, call you back." So that's why I didn't know what you guys were talking about at first.
We should be respectful to spirits. They were living people.
yep,
And that's also the same, even with, regardless of who they were in life. Like,
Yep.
because sometimes there's always that belief that you want to, what's the word I'm thinking of? Provoke. There we go. Sometimes there's always that belief you provoke and talk out bad about certain individuals that were, disgusting or horrible people in life. And,
Sure.
like, let's say, like, for example, I'm just throwing this out. Like, let's say if you went to the house that a particular house that was the former home of a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you don't, under any way, shape, or form, condone the crimes that they committed.
Right.
No matter how heinous they
Yep.
are, you
Yep.
still have to be respectful in some way because,
Here's the thing. There were serial killers. Okay. If it's proven, okay. But do we know? Their
Well, and
mental
that's the other
illness.
thing too. You got to be careful with.
Yeah, they were mentally ill, obviously,
Well, and when
or
you
it wouldn't
think
have
about it,
happened.
well, and when you think about this too, I don't know if you guys know about this. And it does not necessarily involving the same subject matter, but it does kind of have that same level of respect. Is when you have, I mean, obviously we don't have it here, we don't have it in Illinois anymore, but I know other states that have like the death penalty. There's
Right.
a lot of times when the inmates are approaching their execution dates,
Mm-hmm.
given
Mm-hmm.
this, I mean, a lot of the, I mean, I don't know if it was like that obviously 100 plus years ago, but at least in more modern times, a lot of the wardens that often conduct the executions or are involved with it, they often usually say that regardless of the crimes they committed, given the circumstances, knowing that their execution date is coming up, they say there's no real need to be mean, rude to the inmate or anything like that. They still treat them with respect as much as they can because they don't. It's because it's not just only the fact that it's mental illness that may have driven them to commit these kind of crimes. You also have to remember too that some of these guys that have committed, such heinous crimes, and we talked about this previously, some of them may have had abusive childhoods. They never received the understanding or the difference between right and wrong. And you hear a lot of times like they don't really do it in the state of Texas anymore, but I know in other states they do. But you hear a lot of times when right before inmates are executed, they have the so-called last meal,
Mm-hmm.
and they often describe that last meal as maybe the kind of meal that their parents never gave them when they were kids. Never that good meal. They probably in a way it's supposed to kind of have some. I mean, if it makes any sense, it's supposed to reflect some kind of respect on the inmate, kind of giving them the kind of things that they probably never had if they were abused or abandoned as kids or if they were raised by the wrong type of people, like to kind of give them that tiny understanding, if that makes sense.
We
But in
weren't
the
in their head. That's the
well,
point. We weren't in their head.
exactly. So
So
it's
we
like a
don't
kind of like
know.
it's kind of like a partial sympathy, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
We weren't in
So
their head. We don't know. Were they mentally ill? Was something else causing them to do that? Um,
so but yeah, and then but I said, the bottom line is that it is, regardless of the crimes they commit, kind of like the same thing again when we go to certain locations of where spirit people had died, regardless of who they were. It's kind of a lighthearted thing that even when it comes to inmates that are about to be executed, that they give some level of respect, you
mhm.
know. And it's like, to me, I that's the way how I kind of compare it. Where the same thing with spirits in this case is you just have to be
Mhm.
respectful no matter who these people were in
Sure,
life.
sure. And we don't know. That's the whole thing. They may have had a chemical imbalance that they could not help. We don't know. Does that bring back the people they murdered? Absolutely not. Does that help the people that they hurt? Absolutely not. But that's not for us to take on. That's not for us to judge. It's just not. We're human. It could happen to us just the same way. And I know people don't think it can, but people are living paycheck to paycheck. If Let's think about it. If we were to lose our job right now, we're living on our own. We're to lose our job right now. We're living paycheck to paycheck. We are losing whatever income we have right now. We are one paycheck, one rent payment, one mortgage payment, one whatever away from homelessness.
Right.
So, how can we be so looking down on somebody when we don't know how they got there? Even if we do know how they got there, it doesn't make a difference. Are we that much better? I don't believe we are.
No, I don't think so either.
We're one paycheck away. I am. I don't know about anybody else, but if I were to lose my job right now, within 2 months, which 1 month would be, oh, you're late. The next month would be, we're filing court documents. That would be the end of the home we live in.
Right.
So,
It'd
you
be
know,
the same way with my house.
right,
I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck, and this is a benefit that I'm getting for the workman's comp.
right.
And that's
And
kind of the same thing with us too. I mean, it's no different
sure,
from any of us.
sure. And these people that are so, they've been living probably paycheck to paycheck for years. Um, maybe have saved a little money, which great on them. That's awesome. They had that willpower and ability to do so. I wish I did. Um, but how can we look down on anyone when it can happen to any one of us? Now,
Absolutely.
we can say we would not go into drug addiction. We can say we would not, you know, hurt somebody. Um, but put in that situation, we'd like to think we wouldn't. We know our personalities and would like to know that we would follow our personality, but life or death, would we? I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. I don't know what I do because I'm not in that situation. Until I'm there, I couldn't tell you what I do. I would have to be there. So, can we really look down on someone? I don't think so. That's not our job. Now, we can choose not to associate with those people. That's okay. That's our choice because that's not where we are in life.
Right.
And we can choose not to associate, not to bring those people into our circle. We can still help them from the inside and help them out there. But that doesn't mean we need to be around them 24/7 and they need to be our friends. We just need to have empathy and not harm them or help them. That's our two choices.
And there are a lot of people out there that are incapable of doing that.
Yep.
And honestly, that is so true. And I know when they call people an empath, it is considered a rare thing, but it's really not. That is our nature. The ones that are not empathic are the ones that are the rare ones. It isn't our nature. It is an animal's nature. You ever been hurt and been around an animal or been sad and been around an animal? They are right there.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
whatever they can do, they are right there. That's empathy. That is ingrained in every one of us. What happened to some that it's not there, I don't know. But that's not may not be their fault. We can't fault them for it, but honestly, empathy is not something new. It is not a new name. It might be a new name, but it is not a new thing. That is what we were given at birth. What we did with it from there, I don't know. But it's not new. It is in all of us. 10 of Swords is cosmic acupuncture. You need to change your solutions from the ones that were merely getting you by. Yeah, yeah. And the last one, thou shalt not venture off on thy own.
Okay, now
I
I I am
do.
going to disagree with that to a point because
Dan will too.
cause I because I do go off on my own,
I
but
know you do, and I want to kick your ass every time you do it.
but I usually let somebody know where I am going and why I am doing it.
Maybe.
Sometimes you need to do something for an experiment, and that would require you spending some time alone. For example, me and Waverly Hills. I like going down the access tunnel by myself and
Oh
staying
yeah.
in there.
Oh, the death tunnel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like calling it the death tunnel. They don't
No, I
like
know.
it.
I've been trying to call it
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
why I
trying to call
call
it
it
the
the
access tunnel
access.
too, but I still
Access to what? It is dead going down that tunnel, access to the train.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's death.
So well, uh, but that wasn't
Yeah.
um, the original thing about that tunnel. It was to bring in supplies through that tunnel. That was the reason they built it. And then when people started dying more than they could handle, that's when it was used to cart them down so that it wouldn't bring the morale of the other residents down.
Right.
Uh,
So its original use,
the
okay,
original,
it had a
yeah, the
good use,
original use was to bring supplies in.
but in the end, the use trumped bringing supplies in because people didn't live if they were thinking they were going to die.
Right. But I'll still always call it the access tunnel because even I don't like calling it the death tunnel. But
Well,
either way,
I
I
know it's also called the body chute.
Yep.
what
The body chute.
Yep.
maybe that's the one they don't. One or the other, they really don't like it. Maybe body shoots the one. I don't know. I can always ask Tina.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, no, I do like going off on my own as long as there is a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Um, so I am going to disagree with this particular one, but to a point. It's not
Yeah.
just go off on your own and have fun and yada yada yada. We
Right.
no. If you're going off on your own, somebody needs to know.
Absolutely. And that's a safety reason.
That's true. But even if someone knows, you should not be so far off on your own that somebody could not hear you and somebody that knows your personality
Right.
can't see it
Well,
change.
well, that's why I said. I mean, that's not even necessarily just like I said, a paranormal issue. That's just more of a safety issue more than anything else.
It
Because,
is
It is.
nowadays.
It is.
well, yeah, I know. Well, the other thing, it's just that I don't even have to remind you guys on this, but I'll still say it anyway. I mean, when it comes to especially like new locations that we're investigating that are not in the best of shape or whatever,
Right.
obviously that's something you always have to. It's not even just trying to get familiar with the surroundings. It's just more of when we go to these places, they can be. And a matter of fact, I always tell, especially a lot of newcomers that are interested in joining this field, that not only do you have to get familiar with your surroundings, but more importantly, it's all about safety, and that some of these places we go to can be very dangerous at times because, especially those that we haven't been into, sometimes we often encounter a lot of the first time locations. We often encounter broken staircases or collapsed floors or broken glass or whatever. So you have to be very, very careful,
Stevens.
especially if you're going off your own, because I can assure them they can be a dangerous location.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are some locations where you absolutely should not do anything alone. Um, in fact, one that comes to mind right now is what they have now renamed Indiana State Sanitarium. I have heard a lot of stories about that place, and none of them good.
Yep.
I've yet to have gone there. I've been nearby it, but never have actually been inside or investigated it.
Yeah, it used to be called Rockville something.
Yeah, I think it was Rockville Mental Health Center. I could be wrong on that because I told you guys before. When I was younger, my family and I, we always used to go to the nearby town of Marshall to go to Turkey Run In, and we would often attend the Covered Bridge Festival, which was in the which was in the town of Rockville, and again, it wasn't until many years later I actually learned about Indiana State Sanatorium. It was never talked about ever. Well, even when we spoke with the locals over there, and we talked that I was into the paranormal and stuff, even as a young kid, they never told me anything about this location whatsoever. But I could have sworn at least one or two occasions I thought it was called Indiana Rockville Mental Health Center or something like, or Park County Mental Health Center, because it was in Park County.
I'm looking it up now on the log because going back to the shall not trespass, this particular individual that used to be on my team that trespassed with the caves, he also went to this place when it was
I
considered.
think I remember you. I think I remember you telling us that I think it was like a few years ago, but I know exactly who you're referring to on that.
Yep.
I won't go into an abandoned house that's
Oh,
sitting on the side of the road. Absolutely not. No.
well, and I wanted to bring this up earlier. I don't know if maybe I told you guys a long time about this a long time ago, but allow me to refresh the memory. But there was one time, like about 7 years
Here
ago.
it is. Here it
There
is.
was one.
Park
There was
County
one time.
Poor
There was
Asylum.
one time. Sorry, what, Jeremy?
Park County Poor Asylum.
Park County. Well, yeah. Now, well, no. Park County Porous. Yeah, we got the two. It was obvious we got the two locations mixed up. Back then, obviously, I know Park County Poor Asylum and Indiana State Sanatorium are now two separate locations, but we thought it was one location back then. Now, obviously, it's not the case. But, anyways, one time over 7 years ago, and I had a Facebook Live of this actually. This was
No, that's
recorded.
the same place.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
I thought it was two
it's
different
just
places.
separate buildings. It the people who have Indiana State they bought Park County Poor Asylum and renamed it Indiana Sanitarium, but it's the same place, but there are, from what I'm seeing, three different buildings, but it's the same thing.
Well, then the one that because I think almost 10 years ago now, and I'm going to admit this. Maybe I admitted this before, but there was one occasion that I guess you could say, even though I had no intention to do this, that I unintentionally trespassed on a location because that was at the actual Park County Mental Health Center building, and but I wasn't there by myself. This is why I'm saying I didn't intentionally want to trespass on this location because my dad was with me. So my dad and I, we pulled up to the building, and it's weird. I mean, my dad had interest in wanting to check it out, but I even said to him, saying, "Well, isn't this kind of considered trespassing?" And this was during the Covered Bridge Festival. So my dad's like, I mean, he was kind of right on this. There wasn't that much security or police officers that were really patrolling the area because a lot of them were focused on the Covered Bridge Festival that was going on in downtown Rockville. And so we go inside the building, and not long after that, after we entered the building, which I had also filmed live on Facebook, um, full on confession there. This
Hi,
woman just,
Denny, haven't seen you in a while.
what's that? Oh,
Denny's
Denny. Hey, yeah, it's been a long
been
time.
in a while.
Yeah, really long
Hey,
time.
sweetheart.
I'm looking at the map right now. I was very close um, to that place. There's a bridge that I've been to two or three times, and it's just 12 miles away from there.
Well,
So
the
I
weirdest thing,
was very close to it.
was, like I said, when we shortly after we entered the building, even though this was considered trespassing, suddenly this other car shows up out of nowhere, and I first thought to myself, oh, this is probably the sheriff's department. It wasn't a police car, and this woman comes out of the car, and to this day we still don't know who she was. I don't even think we got a name from this person. She just like started exploring the building with us. She had to have been one of the strangest people I think I've ever met in my entire life. She was making just these weird sounds or whatever. And here I am, like filming this live, just minding my own damn business with whatever, with checking out the Park County, mental health center. I mean, it was an interesting find, but man, it was so strange because we had no idea who this woman was or what she was doing. But I will say one thing, even though it probably wasn't the right way of getting into a location like this, um, that place is really dilapidated. A lot of it's in really bad shape. I mean, you could clearly tell that this building has been pretty much abandoned for decades. I mean, plants like there was all this growing, mat. There was all these plants that were growing around, all these vines and stuff like that. Like no one has maintained the structure of that building, at least compared to the other facilities of Indiana State Sanatorium.
Oh, well, the point is we have to follow our gut and who we
Yep.
are.
Well,
We
and
can't be anybody else.
I even said on the live, I still remember saying this, like, because I didn't want people to get the wrong idea. I said, yes, we may be going into a building without getting permission. It may not be the right, we might not be doing this pretty much the correct way. But I still said, I like said, anybody who's watching this, do not under any circumstances trespass. I mean, we probably just happened to be there and got to check it out probably just through certain luck. And also, again, more importantly, I was with my dad then. So it was just pure luck, as I would say. But I still told people, don't ever do this. Unless you got permission to go, don't trespass.
Yeah, but actions speak louder than words. They
They
saw
do.
what you did, not what you said.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I'm saying I admit to what happened one time, but like I said, that was kind of more my dad's idea than mine. To be fully
Right.
honest with you.
But still, you were the one on the live. You were the one they're following.
Yep.
So,
And
yeah, actions speak louder than words, and we just have to follow our gut. You asked, are we supposed to be here? Isn't
yeah,
this trespassing? That was your gut.
well, and not only that, I was going to say on another type of incident, I was saying about 7 years ago. This was kind of involving one of the former social groups that I used to hang out with. We used to do this all the time, 10 years ago, and we always did it the legal way. We have a cemetery that's located in the nearby town in the town of Barrington. And right in the town of Barrington is a road called Cuba Road, which is a notorious haunted road. I mean, it's been haunted for decades, but also right next to it is you have a cemetery called White Cemetery, which also has a lot of activity there too. Now, the way how we always did it the legal ways, I mean, although we never did visit there during the day, yes, we did go at night, but we always made sure, I mean, like going down the road itself is not illegal, obviously, because it is a public road. It was like a two mile stretch of road, and we would only just go back and forth like twice each
Right.
way. So, because we didn't want to be there for too long, because even though this was a more rural and secluded road, we didn't want the locals to get suspicious about us. We were just doing what we were just kind of testing out, more legend tripping than actually investigating. And so, and there were times that we sometimes did pull up by the side of the road by the cemetery, but obviously, being this, as we all know, most cemeteries are closed after dark. So what we often did was we would just pull over by the side of the road, park for a few minutes, and do like a ghost box session. But we never got out of the car and actually went into the cemetery. So
Mm-hmm.
technically, what we were doing was not considered trespassing. So we always did it the legal way. Unfortunately, one of my friends, she started going down the wrong path involving drugs and whatnot. So that brings to what happened 7 years ago. She wanted to do something. She wanted to visit that area again. And at the time, I was like, "Yeah, let's do it," because it's been a couple of years since we've gone to that road. And so we're going down the road, and I'm also filming live to see, to document the event. And she pulls up to the side of the road, and she says, "All right, let's get out." I was like, "Well, what do you mean we're going to get out?" said she wants to go out to the cemetery. It's a white cemetery. And I was just like, you can't go out there. It's closed. He's like, well, the gates are open. Well, the gates may be open, but that still doesn't mean that the cemetery is closed. I was, in fact, told by somebody that did try to go into that cemetery at night, there are hidden trip wires, alarm that could generate alarms that could get the cops over there. So
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going. There was no way I was going to take that risk. And it's really funny to think. It's funny because she started getting really upset over this thing. I was like, I can't, you know, I can't trespass. I'm not going to do it this way. And and the part that makes this funny is that she got really upset. She started complaining about it, and she even went as far as um, confessing that she had broken into other places like that, in spite of me telling her before that. Still, somehow, completely unaware at the time that this was all being shot live on Facebook. So now it's like a recorded confession, and there was no going back after that. And I later found out from some of the other investigators that were watching that live stream. They later told me later on when they were watching it, they were thinking about me, obviously, in this situation. And they're like, there's no way he's going to trespass. Just absolutely not. And they were right because eventually she gave up and we just went home. But there's definitely no doubt in my mind that we probably would have gotten a lot of trouble for trespassing into the cemetery without
Yeah.
permission. Yeah, I mean, in the end, I was successful in preventing that from happening.
Yeah. All right, y'all. You see what time it is?
Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock over here.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to be picking up on this next week.
Yep.
Um, I want to let you guys know right now. Um, hang on. So I want to let you guys know right now that September 4th and possibly September 11th, I will not be here.
Okay.
Um, I won't even be home.
Are you
So
out of state again?
I've got something going on those days. Well, the 4th especially. I don't know for sure on the 11th, but I've got something definitely going on the 4th. I won't be home, at least not in time to do a show. So if you guys want to do a show, you can. I just won't be here. So
I'm fine with whatever.
yeah, I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. So, but no, next week we will pick up the other five of the Ten Commandments.
Because there's a
Uh,
lot more to discuss about that.
yeah, yeah. So, but again, this is all from our perspective. So,
Right. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions.
hmm
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
That's right.
yeah, but opinions are also well, certain opinions are like one of those things where yeah, you can have one, but you really shouldn't.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they all stink.
Well, not all of them.
To someone, they do.
For some, yeah, not all of them. No. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. I don't know if I'm doing a 13th dimension tomorrow. I haven't been able to get a hold of Carl. We're supposed to be doing a show on his lasers. Uh, so I'm still trying to get a hold of him for that. So we'll see what happens.
What? Wait, what? What's up?
I just got a friend request.
From who?
Taylor Swift.
Wait, Taylor
I
Swift?
figured
What?
Zach Baggins.
The profile picture. No,
Oh my god!
I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up. No, this is.
Yeah,
I
this
can't
I gotta
make,
see. Before we
I
get
can't
off,
make
this I
this
gotta
shit
see.
up. I can't make this up.
Oh
That's
my
the profile
gosh!
picture.
Okay.
What the hell? I can barely see it, but yeah,
Because we all know that's really her. You have to
yeah.
accept.
Oh, of course, that's her 100%. Not.
Oh man.
People are bored with Zach Biggins. Nobody's accepting his
Well,
friend's request, so it's time to go on to someone else.
well, I
Well,
mentioned I didn't even tell you guys.
the reason somebody did this is because I posted on her actual account because she announced she's doing this, releasing a new album and showing all these different album covers. So I made a comment that is the only difference the album covers, or are there going to be some bonus songs? And so this Taylor Swift account. Now there are two L's and two T's in this thing. So obviously nobody is supposed to catch that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny to think because I mean, I'm not a real big fan, but I have seen Taylor Swift at a concert, so I doubt she would have. As far as I was going to say, now why would she be adding you on her Facebook?
It'd be nice if
Oh,
it would.
she has people that add people, but they're not adding as friends. They're following the account because that's unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, that concert I saw for out again, she was not the main focus. That was at a Rolling Stones concert that she made a surprise appearance for. Only sang one song, and then after that, she left.
Was she an opener?
What was that?
Was she an opener?
She
No,
does.
she wasn't. No, it was. It was weird because that was back in 2013, and that was during the Rolling Stones 50th anniversary tour.
Oh,
And
so she was like a break
Came in as a
then.
guest.
yeah, kind of as a guest in a way, because it's like a good majority of the show obviously was obviously on the obviously the Rolling Stones themselves, and during I would say probably about half we got pictures on my Facebook. You can see them for yourself, but we got probably about halfway into the show, not necessarily a halftime show I would say, but halfway into the show, all of a sudden here she is just showing up on the stage, and a lot of us we're like, whoa, she's like, where the hell did she come from? Like none of us, there was no announcement, her showing up, and she just came in, walked up to Mick Jagger, and they only sang one song. I think it was a song called I think it was "Words Go By," if I'm saying that correctly. I don't know if that's the actual name of the song, but I know that's part of the lyrics. But she just sang, and then right after that, she just left, and we never saw her again. And I was actually surprised. Well, I mean, I'm sure I wasn't the only one. I think we were all surprised that here we are with somebody who's like makes all this modern day music performing with a band that has existed, half a century long before she was ever even born.
Maybe
So
that's
that
their
that
way of
was
saying I accept the next generation.
well, and that's what I was about to get to, and that's what I was going to get to was I think it was obviously kind of like a representation of two different generations coming together and singing the same song.
Eh,
Well, I just found a new one here. It's only going to be the 12 songs. There will be no bonus songs. So that means I will only be getting one album.
Okay,
I'm a fan of Taylor. Not
I mean,
most of the latest stuff, but like all of her country and just going
yeah.
to the pop era, I'm a big fan of those.
Well,
Once
and that's the
we
other.
got past Lover, then
Yeah.
that's when it started getting not so good for me.
Well,
Danny,
that's the
no,
thing. I
you're
mean, I
not
have.
crushed. You're smart.
Well, and that's also kind of the same thing. I mean, I have I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I do have my exception. Of, like some of her songs, like I know for a fact that I have to admit she did make some good Christmas music too. So like I have some of her songs like from the holiday Christmas season, but I know she did some other types of songs that you know what, they actually do sound pretty good. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan, but I do have the exceptions.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was pretty funny.
Yeah, Denny
That
said she didn't
that
send
was.
me a friend request. I'm crushed.
No,
Yeah.
he's smart.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. So, and still have a bunch of people watching. So,
Come on. Whoa. Hi.
all right. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. So you guys have a good night, a good weekend, and a safe weekend. Thank you for playing along. Um, Tomorrow, I don't know. If not, then I will see you guys next week, and you'll see these two whenever. So,
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, she did make it at 13. That's right, Braxton.
all righty. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night, everyone.